Hoo-ah!
Fam.
That's so annoying.
Fam, you're annoying. Welcome back to the Combo Couch, everybody. Pasta Jardula is here.
Hi guys, I'm Fiorella. What's up?
Hey, fam, when you're moving that stuff, all I'm hearing is riddling and rattling.
I don't know what to tell you. I'm barely touching anything. I think you have problems. I think you're one of those people that you can't hear, but you can hear certain things. Selective hearing.
Wow, I wish I had that with you. Anyways, guys,
I think
welcome
you
back.
do.
I certainly do not.
Hmm.
In fact, when you say something, I don't only hear it right away, I hear it in my brain for like the next 10 days. Okay, fam? Let's just be honest. Okay, welcome back to the Combo Couch, everybody. What a great weekend it was. Hooah! Fam, I believe you have some breaking news that you want to share with us.
Fam, don't overdo it, okay? Like it loses value if you overdo it. Okay.
Okay.
Come on.
Are you done? You have
Um
something to say.
yeah, okay. Well, breaking news. And this is I know it's going to heavily affect some people we know living in Chicago. Kit Cabello, I'm very sorry, but the good news is New York didn't win. Moscow pizza is better than both Chicago and New York pizza, hands down. It just is. They have this one place that has like this dough that they emulate from Italy, and it's like the best dough I ever had in my life, like besides Italy. So, like, I guess in terms of this side of the world, Moscow pizza wins. Okay.
So let's take a
I'm
look.
sorry.
Ready? Hold on a second. Surveyed 100 people said Moscow pizza was better than New York pizza. Survey says. Oh, sorry, fam. That was a
No,
false statement.
fam.
You
I didn't see
win
any numbers up
nothing,
there.
George Day. I have
Fam.
the little X that I should have hit that with you. But fam, that was nice that you had pizza over the weekend. What I did over the weekend was, and no, I did not go to the rodeo. I did not buy a ticket, fam. But you can see over there that shirt that I beautifully wore with that nice hat, fam. I got the hat right here, and I could put it on, and I had a Scarface belt buckle. I know you can't see it, but it's a Scarface belt buckle. The rodeo was in town, and no, I didn't buy a ticket, and no, I don't support the cruelty of the rodeo, but we were going to a comedy show in the casino that had the rodeo. So some of the people on the Friday show said Pasta should dress up and play cowboy. And then Steve got that new shirt. I didn't want him wearing the jacket because it's a nice little peach shirt he got over there. But me, fam, I went to an antique mall and got that hat and that belt buckle for like $30. And then the shirt was like $30. You can see the roses on it, fam. And that's what I did for me this weekend. I got all rodeo, fam.
Fam, you look like a cartoon character. And Steve doesn't have to dress up. I mean, he dresses like that every day, so.
Yeah, I know, but it was nice he got the shirt, fam. Okay. Man, so ladies and gentlemen, we had an interesting weekend going on, a lot of stuff. Fam, that was the breaking news, was the pizza. But anything else to talk about over the weekend? You've been working on the desk for a little while. I call it the desk. We call it anchoring. You might call it presenting. How was it this week doing all that for several days in a row?
I'm on day 3 tonight after I get done with this show, so.
So after the show, you have to go.
Yeah.
So this throws your sleep into a weird freaking thing because right now it's 11 p.m. over there.
Yeah.
And what time do you work from?
From 4 a.m., but I have to go in at 2 to do hair and makeup because obviously it takes forever to get me to this beautiful stage, you know? Like it's a lot of work you have to do here. And then I have to really, what takes time is a rundown, look over the stuff and look at it. And then we're live at 4. And then I'm live all the way till 9 a.m. 9:30.
Five and a half, 6 hours and stuff. And then who comes in after you, Don, or?
No, it's somebody else.
Okay. Who's like the girl with that weird accent, the one that called out the news for saying that was it Lavrov went to the hospital?
I have no idea what you're talking about.
The woman who went in there and said, "Who was your source when you said that Lavrov went to the hospital?" She's a new worker. She's got
she's
this
not.
very weird accent.
She's been there a while.
Oh,
she's Russian. Yeah, she's been there a while. Yes,
there's another girl there that has this like Icelandic, Australian, weird, just all mixture accent. We couldn't put it together. Me and Steve were trying to She's a new employee over at RT, does a really good job. You know who I'm talking about?
No.
All right, good. Well, thank you, fam.
Sorry. Because your version of accents might be different than what it actually is. So I don't know.
No, fam, you know what you do? You know?
Well, then get your shit together.
Okay.
I'm clearly not the one that needs to get their shit together, but yeah, anyway, so I woke up, like I took a nap earlier and I woke up like a few hours ago. I'm nocturnal now, fully.
I'm a morning person, fam.
Congratulations. Okay,
You
so
have to be mean about it.
because it's hard to do this schedule.
I know.
So
And
I'm jealous of
I think
anybody
you
that
do
has
like
a normal.
you do like the schedule where you get to work. You blitzkrieg the 5 days on, you get the 5 days off. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a lot of people I think that watch the show. And there's people that is interested. They want to kind of get involved with independent media or regular media down the road, so they kind of want to know the intricacies of what's going on. I think it's interesting when you bring them up. Fam, speaking of intricacies, remember when people were going, I can't believe that Joe Biden, oh my God, he ended the strike. He just, you know, I'm saying he's doing something great for, you know, America. And then there's a lot of people who are going, hello, he took away the leverage from the workers themselves, and they passed through two bills, right? And one of them passed through through the House, excuse me. One of them said, we're going to do this. We're going to, you know, this was a deal for the strike. They took away the leverage of the workers who wanted more sick pay, who wanted to go away from these crazy schedules. Pretty much just ended it. And then they took a separate vote, which would allow them to have 7 paid vacation days instead of the 1, right? And that failed in the Senate. You know, and I was on Jimmy Dore's show, and he was talking. He goes, for some reason, fam, I have a feeling that 7-day thing won't pass. And it did not, fam, at all, right? So we know this. So people were like, I can't believe that Joe Biden screwed over workers. Well, fam, it's no surprise because he has a nickname out there. Look at this crap that comes up the advertising. Amtrak Joe, fam. Amtrak Joe, fam. And this is from April 10th, 2021. This was over a year and a half ago. Amtrak Joe, a brief look at the President Biden's long history of supporting America's railroad. And there he is. Look at him, fam, with the Amtrak Joe. So right off the bat, you know he's going to have a history with these owners. There was a lot of stuff that was favoring Amtrak, no bid contracts within the infrastructure bill, fam. So here it is, Amtrak Joe. In his history, President Joe, fam, has a long political history, including years of advocating for Amtrak funding. Biden earned the nickname Amtrak Joe as he commuted between Delaware and Washington for decades. The nickname hit mainstream media in 2008, starting with CNN. So here it is, really quickly. I just want to show this. When President Ronald Reagan in 1981 moved to trim $884 million from a budget used by Amtrak, Senator Joe Biden was the only member of the Senate Budget Committee to vote against Reagan's plan. You can't come back next year and change it, Biden said, according to a report from the United Press International. Those railroads will have gone. Now, 4 decades later, Biden's in the seat once held by Ronald Reagan, and he announced a $2 trillion infrastructure plan, which would include $80 billion for Amtrak, fam. The money would go towards expanding and fixing the country's crumbling railway infrastructure, which he's fought in favor for his whole career in Washington. It's often said that Biden's nickname is Amtrak Joe, although it's difficult to pinpoint when that nickname started to solidify. In the late 2000s, as Joe Biden joined Barack Obama on the presidential ticket, their nickname started popping up regularly on CNN. The first record that Insider could find of a prominent news outlet using Amtrak Joe was from August in 2008, when CNN's Soledad O'Brien called him that nickname on air. Coming up next, more with Washington Insider, who's also proud Delaware outsider. They called him Amtrak Joe Biden. God, I've seen him on Amtrak a lot, O'Brien said, as she threw to the commercial, according to the transcript. The following month, the New York Times published a blog post using the nickname. We've combed newspaper archives dating back to Biden's early days as a senator, pulling some of the long ago quotes about Amtrak, his brief history of Biden's interactions with Amtrak. Fam, do you have anything to say right off the bat? Does it surprise you with the way he broke the railroad strike, the way he took away the leverage from the workers, that he has a history with Amtrak? No, fam?
No, it doesn't surprise me. Biden's been anti-worker all his life. All you have to do is look at his record, and see that Biden is. If you look at the definitions of a Republican, he would vote more in line with Republicans, old school type of Republicans back in the day. Like, there's really nothing like, what people consider left of Joe Biden. Now he's just a straight up neoliberal. Obviously, he's part of the Democratic machine. He's part of the establishment. He's clearly somebody that really goes where the power is, where the wind is. And right now, obviously, that's the neoliberal contingent of the oligarchy. I mean, obviously, you have people like Mitch McConnell and those that really are there's very little differences between them and, say, the Pelosi's and the Hakeem Jefferies and the Bidens of the world. So I just don't, I'm more annoyed that people thought it was going to go different, because I think my patience has dwindled from like not being in the United States, and being here and then seeing like the things that are actually happening on an international scale, and then the things Americans in the United States are doing and what they're complaining about. And it just really, I think my patience has dwindled in terms of what I accept or what I think is justifiable. And we'll get to that too later on, because I just have like no patience for people anymore. And I think I'm a very patient person, actually, like naturally. And I just think like my patience has dwindled with how people in the US are willing to accept so much bullshit and still think somebody's going to save them, whether it's Joe Biden and the Democrats or Elon Musk or some other hero that they've deemed is going to save them from the inevitable, which is the collapse of the empire. Instead of just being proactive and saying, this shit is going down, there's no saving it. And that's not being cynical, that's being realistic. There's a difference. And being, okay, well, now that we know this is going to happen, what can we do to set a foundation for where we go from here? Because I hate the doomer pilled people that think everything is connected and everything is bad. But at the same time, there's the other side that's just hopelessly hoping somebody's going to rescue them. And it's just not going to happen. I'm sorry. You're not going to vote your way out of this. You're not going to, somebody's not going to save you. It's really up to the American people, but it's almost like this inability to move. It's you're like completely crippled in so many ways, and there's just no action taking compared to what's going on in other countries.
Yeah. By the way, I want to show something here too as well. I want to make sure I get the article because the other one was removed. I couldn't find it. But fam, what happened in Ukraine with Hunter? Do we remember?
What do you mean?
Didn't he get
His
on the
involvement in Burisma? Yeah.
Right? So
Yeah.
I just want to point out as well. Let me show this too as well. It's not the first time that we've seen Daddy set up jobs for little Hunter. As Joe Biden was he was pretty much lobbying and whipping the whip for Amtrak. Hunter Biden served on Amtrak board because he liked train travel. So you could see that Hunter was on the board. It's one thing after the other with these guys, and it's funny. And he had to sell this lie, fam, so much that Joe Biden was always on the campaign trail telling this one particular story. Like, you know how Joe Biden makes up these stories about like, oh, I had this thing when I used to do this, and they used to crawl on my legs back in the days and call me Jack, and all these little stupid stories he would make up. He would make up stories. I went to school over here. You know what I'm saying? It's like they'd have to tell him, Joe, like, that's not true. That's a false story. So I have this right over here. Check this one out, fam, too, as well. Joe Biden, not once, not twice, fam, not 3 times, but 4th time, he would tell this story about this conductor Biden tells fake Amtrak conductor story for the fourth time since taking office, fam. He's out there trying to sell this Amtrak shit so hard that he's told this false story 4 times. President Biden on Wednesday told a false story for the fourth time since taking office about an Amtrak conductor named Angelo Negri, who supposedly boasted about his train ridership during his final year as vice president. So the whole problem is, fam, is that Negri retired from Amtrak in 1993 and died in May 2014, CNN reported in June, making it impossible for him to have spoken with Biden during the final year his vice president, which have been in 2016 or the first month of 2017, fam. So dudes
It's
out there
okay.
whipping up
He
a story
spoke
that
to Ghost.
yeah.
It's okay. It happens, some of us, do that. I mean, it's okay, Joe. But two things I want to point out about this whole scenario. One, the Democratic Party has wasted such a long time talking about Donald Trump's nepotism and his sons and putting all these people in high places of power during the entire time that Donald Trump was president, completely ignoring that Joe Biden not only has done that while he's president, but he did it when he was vice president as well. And not just with Burisma, but with the Amtrak stuff. So that is like the ultimate level of hypocrisy when you're talking about that sort of thing. And the other thing, it's as if Amtrak is the greatest thing in the world. Has anybody used Amtrak? It's okay. It's only literally goes from the East Coast, right? It just goes throughout the East Coast. It really doesn't go too much further west. It's not like you should take a look at Russia's train system or China's train systems and then come back
Yeah.
and talk about how great it is. And by the way, Amtrak is not affordable for the most part, unless you're going short distances, like, for example, New Jersey to New York, like New York to Manhattan, or something like within those lines. It's really not affordable. Like, it's pretty expensive. Whereas if you're going from Moscow to St. Petersburg, it's like a 4-hour train, a little bit less, and it's very cheap, and you have food included, even in the most basic type of economy seat. It's phenomenal. I've never seen anything like it. I'm just like, wow. Like, and if you were investing in something like that as president, I'd be for it. But that's not transportation that the majority of the working people are using. It's just, it's not for that reason. Like, it's not like it would be a bad thing if it was for public good, but it's not. It's literally just investing at the top level to make a buck.
Yep. And like you said, fam, it's not the first time that's happened. They point the finger to Donald Trump, Donald Trump, Donald Trump. He was the only one on that committee that vote against, taking away money from Amtrak. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's because, once again, they kind of got caught into these whole no bid contracts of sorts and just being chummy. And here he is whipping it for the railroad owners themselves. And there should be no surprise. He's been bought off for quite some time. There should be no surprise that he did what he did. And it's really disgusting the way the mainstream media is kind of trying to shape this whole situation. And I saw all the old friends of ours, fam, on Instagram, who put up something and said Joe Biden voted against voted against supporting the railroad workers, or put up a meme like that. And literally, it said, it's time to take our party back. I'm like, it was never your party. It's time to move the hell on. You know what I'm doing, but don't kid yourself. It's not your party. Somebody actually attacked that person that we know, saying, how can you say that against Joe Biden? Do you understand what a strike would do to the economy? Hold on for a second. I thought as progressives, we're supposed to stand with workers. I understand what a strike would be, but why are you going to take away any leverage? Are you going to tell me that the conditions that these rail workers have been working under for so many years is good, is all right, is acceptable? You're damn right. If it's going to shut down shit, that's going to make the owners sweat, and that's going to make the people go to their Congress people, their Congress critters, and tell them, support the friggin' workers.
No, strikes are supposed to be polite. Like, what, right? Like, it defeats the purpose of a strike if it's going to be something that's not going to make some people angry or upset, that it's not going to, a strike that doesn't disrupt the economy is, to me, not a successful strike. Like, if you're talking about a worker strike, you
Mhm.
need to disrupt some form of the economy. Otherwise, what do you, like, what threat do you present? Why would they do anything? And that's the thing. Like, for too long, people think like, oh, just protesting and holding signs is enough. It's not. Like, every look at other countries, look at what they do, look at how they force things to happen because they disrupt the economy. And that's the only way you're going to get anything, because that's all these people care about. They care about their money and the economy. So if you're not disrupting their pockets, then what are you doing with your life? Like it has to be that at that level, but people have lost that sense that we used to have in the United States in the 1920s and early 30s, with these workers' parties that were very socialist in their nature, but mainly just because they were focused on economics. It's not like they had a bunch of rainbows everywhere and that they were like, seeking out abortion. They were literally focused on economics and workers' rights,
Mhm.
obtaining the most rights they could. And we have lost that, and it has been replaced with this neoliberal type of ideology that it's only social justice issues that are going to get us there. But the problem is, any social justice issue that's not backed economically is going to repel people away from those issues. You're actually pushing people further away from those issues if you actually want them, because if you have no economic backing, it's literally feels superfluous. And so when people talk about women's issues and stuff, like, my number one women's issue is economics. Like, women, we need money. Like, so in order to do all of these things, people need to have a good job. But if you're
Working
not
economy.
tackling that, that you're
Yeah.
just tackling you're just tackling,
Virtue
superfluous.
signaling. Yeah.
Yeah,
What does superfluous mean, fam?
the same thing as like superficial.
Well, gotcha. By the way, who Hugo Gutierrez agrees with you. That's the whole point of a strike. Shut shit
Yeah,
down, make them feel uncomfortable. Let the freaking ruling class know. Let them sweat. This reminds me so much of what Ronald Reagan did to the air traffic controllers. Now I got to go back and I was very young when that was happening, but I remember my family maker saying like he's taking away all their freaking leverage and he's bringing in the National Guard. He's going to kill them, and I don't know if they ever recovered from that, fam. And
yeah,
here's another one. He says they're putting good money into better electric train engines. Listen, if the electricity is coming from coal, how is that better? If the majority of
yeah.
electricity comes from coal, how is that even better? So that's something to think about when we were there. If you don't, there was another. Here's another one, fam. High speed rail, right? Uh, isn't even a thing anymore. Not over here. In China,
Mm-mm.
it is. Yet, is there even a single bullet train in North America, fam? Is there
No,
a single bullet? I know
no,
Florida has got some new faster trains, but that's not even high
they're
speed.
not
It's
bullet train.
they're
No,
they're
no,
better than what we got, but they are not high. You're absolutely right. They're not
no.
bullet trains.
Yeah, no, it's bad. It's really bad. Like I said, like, I really wish people could really see the metro here. It is faster to use the metro than to drive in a car. It's kind of why less people drive cars here. It's just not efficient.
And this is the last one I want to put up by Matthew Sids. I'm in a union. If they start disrupting our strikes, what else we got to stand on, fam? And that's nobody
Right.
should be surprised what Joe Biden did. He's been in the pockets of big railroad for quite some time. Not to mention our railroads suck, like you said, fam. We're talking about the 60s. They're freaking whatchamacallit.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah. Let me look over at the guys. If you haven't joined the Rockfins, please do so. We're on premium over there, ROKFIN. Oh my God. Cam Schwari Kate says the reason why Moscow pizza is the best is because Russia grows the best wheat grain in the world. Wow.
We
Ooh.
have really good bread here. I say we now, look at me. Russians have really good bread here. I'm almost a resident, so
Yeah. And Aram told me the definitions of super. How do you say it? Superfluous.
yeah.
Superfluous. I got to say it properly.
Hmm.
Is extra, particularly
Yeah.
practically unnecessary, is what she's saying. Superfluous.
Slight difference, yeah.
There's a
But
movie about Iran called what is it called? Persepolis, I think it's called. I think it's called Persepolis. I'll find that. We'll look at the trailer at the very end. But thank you so much for the
Okay.
Super Ray contribution, guys. We're also on Rumble. We got about 36 people watching over there. We got a couple hundred people watching on YouTube. Jilly Love, Lucky Burrito, if you can do us a favor, we love our moderators. We really appreciate it. If you guys can do us a favor, if you can put the links to the Rumble inside the chat, we want to start building that over there. Also, put the links to the Rockfin if you can afford it, $9.99 a month. That will give you all our premium content. Look, Rockfin is set up, guys, for premium content watchers. So we're never going to put it behind a paywall. We'll have it for free on Rumble. But if you have the few dollars, the extra dollars to help us out, go get that membership. That does help us out. And you can watch us all on our other platforms. And I believe our combocouch.com is backed from Hacked World. So we will get that up shortly. Fam, do you remember the 2020 primary? How rough it was? How Bernie Sanders, you were in Iowa, right? You went to Iowa. And in Iowa, it's a lot harder, would you say, to cheat a caucus because people are there. So it's a lot harder. That's what happened.
Well, hand counted paper ballots, a whole process of counting, public counting.
Yes.
It has a caucus has everything that we advocate for or that we've talked about in other elections, basically. It's except that instead of putting people there and making it the whole thing of using like physical people, you just supplement those people with the ballot instead. And it's enough. And you use ID and you have one place of voting and one day of voting and blah, blah, blah. So it's just like, that's the difference. But a caucus in the United States, I think it's the most accurate form of voting process. And they're trying to do away with it because they know that. And in every caucus that we had, Bernie won big, except the one time that, of course, they tried to use the shadow app. Of course, a lot of the warnings that some of us gave from the get-go were completely ignored by the Bernie Sanders campaign because it was infiltrated with a bunch of operatives for the Center for American Progress and the Democratic establishment. Second time around, that is.
Somebody get rid of this shit over here. I'm going to get rid of that over there. Sorry about that. People come jumping in the chat. We love you too, Rob, Juno, and Jillian, everybody who's there. Yeah, fam, what you did in Iowa, right, was amazing. We worked it. What happened was Johnny, Pasta, and Nico stayed back while Fee was in Iowa. And Fee actually left a caucus that had been settled. And later on that night, while she was at the Bernie Sanders celebration,
like 15 minutes later, not even it was like 10, 15 minutes later.
After all the
journalists
left the room, they all of a sudden are doing a coin flip. And after that coin flip, they actually took away a delegate from Bernie and gave one to Pete Boot. And fam had said there was no necessary there was not a reason why they needed to do a coin flip. They just
asked. She told us we were done. Yeah. She said we were done, that they were done. That's why the only reason we left. Yeah.
So fam and I was like, oh my God, that's because when I saw the person, I'm like, that was the Betty Dumas of Iowa. And I was like, we laughed like, fam, this was the precinct you went to, the caucus you went to, and you're like, that is. And like they're doing a coin flip. You're like, for what reason? Crazy. So we had been alerted. We had saw what had gone on in Iowa. Bernie Sanders was not allowed to leave Iowa a clear champion. There was confusion. Pete Buttigieg is there, whatnot. Every step of the way, you can't let a person come out of a state with momentum. If they let Bernie Sanders come out of Iowa with momentum, a lot of people are like, all right, let's get on this train. So they had to clog that up and muddy the waters. Then went on to, I can't remember, New Hampshire, right? And Bernie had done well there. Then went to Vegas, and fam went out there. And because it's a caucus, once again, he didn't win. He dominated. He had smashed. All of a sudden, now mainstream media had lost their shit. What's his name? Chris Matthews. Is that his name? Hardball. Chris Matthews here, that guy. He had kind of compared Bernie Sanders to Hitler in a way. Like, right? Remember, he lost his job for this shit. They lost their, because it was a caucus. It's hard to cheat. And fam and a lot of other people showed up. They were celebrating the streets. After that, I mean, we were at that point, we were like, okay, we understood electoral politics.
Joe Biden was 5th place, by the way, at that point.
4th.
I'm pretty sure he was 5th, but I don't know.
I think
It's
he
been a
was
while.
tied fourth and fifth. I think he was. I know that Pete Buttigieg was second. I know that Elizabeth Warren was. You're right. He was fifth. My bad. He was. Elizabeth Warren. Pete Buttigieg was second. Elizabeth Warren was third. Amy Klobuchar was fourth, and Joe Biden was fifth. Absolutely 1,000% right. Thank you, fam, for correcting the math thing. And by the way, Matthews was a Hillary shill. Says Joe Cool 333. Then all of
Yes,
a
so
sudden,
Joe.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, go ahead. Well, he went. The reason I remember is because we were extremely upset that the guy that was in fifth place and the woman that didn't place at all, that didn't
Yep.
win a single delegate, Kamala Harris, became your president and your vice president. And then people try to tell me our elections are fair.
Well,
So
that's the thing is that we are on YouTube, but I don't give a damn. And I just reapplied for our monetization that we're not going to get. But it's the truth. It's Kabuki theater, right? Everything is in front of us. They have to give you stuff that's believable, and they found themselves in a huge problem last time. And I don't know if Nevada's going to go caucus anymore, fam. They might just go to regular old primaries. I don't
yeah,
know. If they do
yeah,
that, then that takes away from Nevada what had happened because
yep,
not for nothing, mainstream media was shitting their pants and they didn't know how they're going to get out of this. Then they go to South Carolina, fam, and
yep.
everything turns in South Carolina. Now, South Carolina is filled with election issues and political issues. Political issues, number one, because they have establishment figures there that can move a lot of people. Okay. Mainly, what's his name? The South Carolina congressperson over there. Let me put his name up. Who Bernie Sanders thought that he could get his endorsement. Congressman.
Oh, you're talking about Jesse Jackson?
No. Jim Clyburn.
Oh,
Jim Clyburn has so much power in South Carolina, and so you have a political machine you're going after. Now you have all the electoral stuff. DREs, direct reporting, electronic devices with no chain of custody, where it's taken off being counted at another location. You know what I'm saying? Mass mail out stuff. I mean, you have so many issues with South Carolina that everything changed that people couldn't believe. How did Joe Biden win? Thank you so much. There's minor threat saying Clyburn. See, how did Joe Biden win South Carolina? So, fam, you're going to fix a problem. Why don't we just move South Carolina up to be the number one primary spot? So now we can get the result we want right out of the gate. Now we can get our establishment candidate in first place out of the gate. Now we can set a narrative out of the gate. So now it's been moved, fam, to number one, the South Carolina primary. Anything to say before I go ahead and play this real quick?
Well, guys, they're going to do away with caucuses and they're going to put an easy state to manipulate to really have zero questions. Whoever wins this is going to win that. And that's how it's always been. The US electoral system is really set up really bad. It should be everybody at once. It shouldn't be this bullshit that we have. Like, it's just so confusing. Like, after looking at elections internationally and just looking at the United States, you're like, what the hell? Wait, so there's a primary, and then you have this, and then you have that. This is like really weird. It doesn't make any sense. So yeah, it's on purpose. That it's pointless to vote. I'm not saying that because I think you should give up. I'm saying that your route to change is not through the ballot box because your ballot box is already compromised.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Fam, let me just say this much. I'll take the bullet for that one. I will be the guy to push for elections because and listen, Fam and Steve, a little bit more aligned on this situation. Fia said it's not going to change. We're not going to vote our way out of an oligarchy. Steve has said the same thing. Steve says the only thing we should do is lock the doors until they chain them closed, until they give us a fair system and not participate. T-Lab even says, what is that? Abstaining, saying voting that you don't want to vote. You're abstaining from everybody on the thing. If you had an abstain box where you can say I'm abstaining and you had a bunch of abstainings that turned in this many people abstained, that might cause a ruckus to change the system. I'm the one who's going to take the bullet and say, go ahead and vote because I don't believe that the ruling class should take that away from us. I believe
they
that
already did.
Vote. Fam, I'm not, can I finish. I let you say your bit.
Okay, but they already took it away from you.
They didn't take away the ritual. They just took away the results. But, and that's true. And and no matter what, once we work our way through this, the popular choice will always prevail. What people want. You know what I'm saying? So you will always have a form of voting, even when we get out of this situation. So no matter what, we should always practice good voting. And the worse it is now, hopefully it will stamp something in our minds to remind us of how bad it is. So therefore we can get it straight and fix it. But that's just me and my opinion. I don't disregard you for you and Steve's opinions, fam. What you guys have, I understand what you're
I just think in a way, people who continue validating the system are actually helping maintain the system rather than actually trying to put something else. By voting, you're giving legitimacy to the system.
Lady Alex agrees with me. Practice good voting.
No,
Make them cheat you.
They're going to cheat you no matter what you do.
Yeah, I'm trying to spin this my way.
All
right, here goes. Good. All right, Fee, word. You go. Good point, Fee. And of course, Lucky. Lucky's going to agree with you here. Exactly. Lucky and Steve fucking give me shit for voting all the time.
I give you shit.
They give me shit for going to a third party, fam. They give me shit all the time. What am I going to do?
I used to say, okay, go third party. But when you don't have a fair system, it just proves that to these idiots, the third parties, nobody votes third party, so they can never win. So you're justifying, you're maintaining that system because third parties never win under the system. So these idiots are like, see, third parties never win. We have to vote for one or the other. You're validating the current system by continuing to participate in it. They already took it away from you. What's a ritual without any like purpose or direction?
Okay, but they're pretending to be fair, and if they're going to pretend to be fair, then we have to create more evidence for them cheating, and that's just the way it goes.
But they control the mechanisms.
Costa is never wrong. I agree with him. LOL.
You can prove
Lance,
that somebody is manipulating the system in other ways that don't require you to participate in it. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know, but the more you participate, the more of a crime trail you produce. Guys, let's do us a favor, guys. Go over there and share.
Make them find to hide the crime trail.
Ian goes, bruh, did Pasta take both the red and blue and red pill at the same time? Thank you for the super ray, Ian. No, I do not. And Choir Boy agrees with Fee. That is the problem. The shit libs keep voting for this trash, so we keep getting trash. More rotten each cycle, says. Let's play this video. Let's take a look because I also want to just talk about South Carolina and fam's new favorite congressperson, Hakeem Jefferies. Fam, you know you love him. It's not taking place.
In Your Voice, Your Vote, Nevada's bid to go first in the 2024 presidential primary calendar has fallen short, but the state's Democrats are still celebrating. Ed Pierce explains why.
The vote by the Democratic National Convention's Rules and Bylaws Committee came one day after the president made his recommendation known and closely follows his thoughts on the issue. For years, the primary calendar has remained fairly static. The Iowa caucus first, followed by a New Hampshire primary. But there's long been concerns that neither state reflects the demographics of the party or the nation. Senator Harry Reid used that argument to push Nevada's caucus up to an early slot in 2008, and Nevada Democrats were using it again this year to push for our state to go first. That didn't happen. Longtime Nevada political observer Fred Locken says that was always a long shot.
But we don't have Harry Reid in the conversation now, and I think that's the big disadvantage for us. We just don't have anyone that has that longevity with the national party to exercise that level of influence. The other regions do, and I think that as a result, we've talked about it to death. I don't see that we'll change it.
Nevada Democrats didn't come away empty-handed. Under the schedule approved by the committee, South Carolina Democrats will vote Saturday, February 3rd, 2024, followed 3 days later by primaries in both New Hampshire and Nevada. State Democratic Party Chair Judith Whitmer issued a statement saying, in part, we're glad to see Nevada move forward in the primary calendar and excited to see our state play a pivotal role in 2024 and into the future. Ed Pierce, KOLA 8 News Now.
The only problem is, fam, is that they've went to a system now in Nevada, and if they continue this system, it is completely tainted. You're talking about if you're on an active no, it's if you're in active status in Nevada, you get a mail out ballot. 90% of the people eligible to vote got a mail out ballot. 45% of those ballots were turned in. Over 1 million ballots are just out there floating around. They have 3 weeks of early voting and a week after to count. There's no security. Where it's cast, it's not counted. There's ballot harvesting so people can bring in multiple ballots. All these things now put it in a situation where you're talking about, you got South Carolina, fam. Now you come with Nevada right behind it with the new rules, not the old caucus. And you have a recipe set up in which grassroots candidates will be behind the 8 ball all the time. This is something the progressives should fucking listen and learn about, fam. People in that we knew, big ups to Gabriel Ramirez, who won his seat, in the city council seat. Hopefully the establishment wasn't looking that far down some of these city council seats and said, we don't have to worry about this. They were too busy doing other stuff, whatever the case may be. He's in. Maria Estrada. Angela Duenas. All the grassroots candidates who ran against Shahid Buttar got less votes this time out, less percentage of votes this time out than they did when they ran 3 times ago, the first and second time. How is that even possible, fam? How is it possible that these candidates are losing votes as the Democratic establishment is getting more criticism, is losing more members, as more people are walking away? How is that even possible? Well, your election system's been turned upside down, and there's no chain of custody, there's no security, there's no participation, there's proprietary software, everything up the yin-yang. So people have to realize that this move right now, what's going on, not only with the new salesman coming in, fam, that we're going to talk about, your new favorite congressperson, who get set, because when I told you, fam, we're going to do something about Hakeem Jefferies, you're like, really? Yeah. No, we're going to be doing a lot of videos about Hakeem Jefferies, fam, because he's the new leader of the Democrats. And unlike the Crypt Keeper, who used to wag her finger and go, we feed them, and would stumble on the words, Hakeem Jeffries, the new leader, who is all for this move to move it to South Carolina, is going to be churning out the message, fam. So they have their new salesman coming while they have a system in which grassroots candidates are going to have little to no chance, with South Carolina being first and Nevada second. Forget about it, fam. They're going to be behind the 8 ball further than ever, more than ever before.
Yeah, that's why. Don't participate in the system. You're only helping to strengthen it.
Don't let them take voting away from you.
They already did. They already
let them
took
know they
voting
didn't
away
take
from
this.
you.
You say you want your vote to count.
It doesn't.
You demand it counts.
Yeah, okay.
The Crypt Keeper is her name, buddy. Okay, fam. So let's meet this new guy, fam's new best friend. He's a guy by the name of Hakeem Jefferies, fam. So I figured we'd start talking about the things that you would like most about Hakeem. Oh, by the way, let me just to reiterate too, while we have it here, just so you know what we're talking about. This right here, remember, fam, he was in, what did you say, 5th place? 5th place. And then here he comes. Very much alive. Biden projected to win South Carolina. Look at him, fam. Just take it in. Everybody,
Fam,
take it in, fam.
I can only handle so much talk about Democratic electoralism. You're driving me crazy here.
Okay, but can I show you something else real quick? Remember
No.
also? Yeah, no. Remember also? So what happens is he's in 5th place. They go into South Carolina. He comes out swinging. And then all of a sudden we get this. Because what's his name? Barry, fam. Barry Obama.
Yeah, Obama made a phone call.
He made a phone call. Biden racks up Buttigieg, Klobuchar, and O'Rourke endorsements on the same night.
Yeah. But keep voting, guys.
Oh, stop.
I just don't understand I just do not understand the logic.
Fam, even Imran Khan believes the only way to
Imran Khan lives in a completely different country.
but the process
lives
is
in a
what's important.
Yeah, and the process is entirely different. You're right. The process is what's important. The process
We
is
gotta
entirely
fight,
different.
fam, to get the process fair. I'm
Yeah.
not listen. Just respect my ways the way I respect yours.
I just think it's just you're hurting the change that you want.
Are you gonna give me that whole line? If you're not problem with the solution, you're part of the problem.
Yeah, it's true.
Fam, the new leader of the Democratic Party, now that the Crypt Keeper is spent her, she's out. We know who the Crypt Keeper is a man by the name of Hakeem Jefferies, fam. Let's take a look. And you got to look at the marketing too as well. Always look at I wish I had a bell. I'm going to get a bell for the marketing. Breaking, Representative Hakeem Jefferies of New York is elected by his peers House Democratic leader, succeeding Representative Nancy Pelosi. Representative Jefferies will make history as the first Black lawmaker to lead one of the two major parties in either chamber of Congress. And there he is, fam.
Congratulations. Intersectional imperialism, intersectional Zionism. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. I feel so great for all people of color being represented by this imperialist Zionist. And I'm sure Palestinians feel just the same with every bomb and every death that comes at the people of Palestine over the Zionists presiding over the House of Representatives. It really brings, I'm sure, such joy.
Fam, when you say Zionism about Hakeem Jeffries, what do you mean? Well, let's take a look, boys and girls. Israel today, fam. Israel tomorrow. Israel forever. Hakeem Jeffries defends Israel apartheid like George Wallace did the U.S. apartheid. Segregation today, segregation tomorrow, segregation forever. That's what George Wallace said. It was going to be quiet, but seeing so many glowing tweets and lies is too much hashtag to take. Palestinians are even less safe today. And I put that up. I've given Chuck Modi hard times, fam, because I've said he's always been a white knight at times and, some of the bullshit. But you know what? I'm going to highlight Chuck Modi's work today. I'm glad he brought it to the table. I'm going to mute us up, fam. Just listen. And he talks about against the Antifadas. He talks about supporting Israel during a time where they use chemicals of mass destruction, phosphorus, on Palestinians. Let's take a listen, fam.
And then you had to deal with the first Intifada, and Israel prevailed. And Israel had to deal with the second Intifada, and Israel prevailed. And then missiles were flying in December of 2008, and Israel prevailed. And then missiles were flying in November of 2012, and Israel prevailed. And so I'm confident that when it's all said and done, we're going to stand together. Israel today, Israel tomorrow, Israel forever. God bless you.
Oh, wow. I didn't know we lived in the United States of Israel. I was under the impression this was the United States of America, not the United States of Israel. But hey, since billions of dollars goes to fund Israel's way of life that far exceeds the way of life of working people, everyday Americans, I mean, they have healthcare, they have nice things over there in Israel, while of course they live in apartheid and Palestinians live in an open air prison. Yeah, I mean, don't you just feel so good that there's inclusion in Zionism? I just absolutely love it. We're gonna have, by the way, hold on. I just want to say we're gonna have Vanessa Beeley on Wednesday to talk a little bit about the connections between Zionism and Nazism, and of course, what's happening in Syria that nobody's talking about.
Yes, she's got a great thread, fam. I gotta find. I put up. Unfortunately, I was an idiot, and I put up a video that I shared from Walker Bragman, so it took me down. Let me see if this. It won't let me play it. If I go here, yeah, it will. All right, I got it. Here it is, fam. So we got him talking at AIPAC because you knew the next leader of the Democratic Party, fam, was not going to be somebody unless they were hardcore pro-Israel. So here he is talking about it's the fifth borough, fam. Listen to this.
Simp harder, why don't you?
Someone said to me, they said, Hakeem, you're going to Israel a fifth time? I said, listen, I'm from New York City. And back home, Back home in New York City, we consider Jerusalem to be the sixth borough. I grew up in Brooklyn in the late 80s and early 90s. I know from tough neighborhoods, Israel lives in a tough neighborhood. And when you live in a tough neighborhood and when you go on a trip and you're able to experience that through the eyes of those who have to live it every day, then you know why it's important for Israel to maintain its qualitative military edge, to continue to be strong. As long as I have the opportunity to serve in Congress, I'm going to make sure that that aid continues in a strongly robust fashion, no conditions. We're a robust family. We're an enthusiastic family. The one thing I can say is that we will remain a strongly pro-Israel family as well. We put a resolution on the floor of the House to condemn BDS and the effort to try to delegitimize the state of Israel. I think your presence here today is incredibly important, and the conversations that you'll be having later on today at the reception, and also, of course, as you descend upon the Hill and interact with members in both the House and the Senate, to emphasize that, of course, the relationship is anchored in values. The relationship is anchored in Israel being an incredibly strong ally and friend in one of the toughest parts of the world.
In apartheid.
And that's strategically important to the safety and well-being, of course, of our country and the people that we represent.
Fam, don't you like the way he sells it? It's like Israel. They come from a tough neighborhood. They're just doing what they have to do to survive. It's kind of like me when I was young growing up. Tough neighborhood.
It's really actually disgusting, and I'm not gonna, I'm not black, so I'm not gonna speak but from my perspective, it's disgusting that he's allowing himself to be tokenized in this way to do the dirty work for Zionism, for AIPAC, for these people that destroy other Semitic people like the Palestinians, and not just the Palestinians, but Israel constantly bombs Syria. Is one of the reasons why Syria is in the situation it is. It is a great ally of the United States in apartheid, in the destruction of so many innocent people. Yeah. And of course, he's basically confirming what Democrats do. And by the way, neocons do the same thing. There's a lot of pro-Zionist neocons. I mean, Donald Trump was heavily promoting Israel. So this isn't just part of the Democratic Party. It's almost like this is the one thing they compete on. Who is the more pro-Israel party? They always compete on this stuff.
Yeah.
Like there's no anti-Palestinian sector of either end of the party. There's just, well, maybe we shouldn't be funding all this money to Israel because money. Like there's no pro-Palestinian, sector of the party. There's no oh, hey, we should be, having Palestinians have stuff. There's oh, well, we need a two-state solution, but there's not hey, Palestinians are actually being genocided right now. It's all oh, look at Ukraine's genocide. And this is what Ursula von der Leyen got criticized, and so many others of the EU have been criticized over, constantly pointed out. I mean, Ursula von der Leyen just got criticized by an Irish PM a couple days ago. And she got criticized because she constantly talks about Ukrainian genocide, but they don't talk about Palestinian genocide. They don't talk about it at all. So, this is just, once again, more of that bullshit they give you. And both parties, of course, are guilty of this, but it's just really gross. They're tokenizing him to do this.
Somebody even put, I thought neocons had cornered the market on Zionism. No, not for quite some time. Joe Biden was one of those guys. I am a Zionist.
Yeah.
If Israel didn't exist, we'd have to make one. But listen, I want to concentrate more on Hakeem Jefferies for a second here, because I pulled those two out because I wanted to get your skin boiling and heated up right away, because this is the new face of the Democratic Party. Like I said, the Crypt Keeper is stepping aside, and now here comes Hakeem Jefferies. He's more smooth, quicker, on message, more charismatic.
He's better at PR.
He's way better at PR. He's also a man of color. He's got all these other things. Now the message is going to be way more clear for these shitlibs to get out, fam. And let me just show you, because he's nothing but a complete salesman. Here he is. I think it would be one of the hardest things in the world if you told me to sell the Democratic Party now, fam, on what they've been doing. If you told me I had to sell Joe Biden, that's a hard job for me to do because I couldn't think of a way to sell him. But listen to how Hakeem Jefferies sells Joe Biden.
President Biden, we saw this major move by him and his allies in the DNC this week to rejigger the primary calendar, putting South Carolina first. Of course, South Carolina, many would argue, made Joe Biden president back in 2020. Do you expect him to run? Do you want him to run?
I certainly expect him to run, and I absolutely look forward to strongly supporting him. If you think about President Biden's track record of success, it includes, but is not limited to, the American Rescue Plan, Save the Economy, Shots in Arms, Money in Pockets, putting kids back in school, the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act, creating millions of good-paying jobs, fixing our crumbling infrastructure all across America, urban America, rural America, suburban America, small-town America, the heartland of America. Gun safety legislation for the first time in 30 years. It will save lives. We've got to do more, but it was an incredible step. The CHIPS and Science Act to bring domestic manufacturing jobs back home, and the historic Inflation Reduction Act to strike a decisive blow against the climate crisis, lower energy costs, strengthen the Affordable Care Act, lower healthcare costs, and drive down the high price of life-saving prescription drugs for millions of Americans. Those are just the highlights, George. That's an extraordinary record. And on top of all of that, Ketanji Brown Jackson is seated on the United States Supreme Court. That is a compelling track record of success. I know he'll have a vision for the future. I look forward to strongly supporting President Biden's reelection.
Fam, that's just the highlights, fam.
I mean, this is just, I mean, he's just
the highlights. And make
an
sure you get the
establishment
purchase signal
Republican.
in. Yeah, he is.
I mean, essentially.
He is what he is. He is. That's it for that section, guys. We're going to move on. He also went after Trump, too, as well, of course, because that's all they can do is mention Trump. And it's almost the same rhetoric that was in the newspaper this morning, fam. It's like they get the same freaking email. So, yeah, I mean, it's just more of the same when it comes to these guys. That's it. That's your new representative in Congress. Fam, let's get into these Twitter files over here because they're kind of interesting, and I want to talk a little bit about them. I think we've been talking for quite some time that this is not going to be anything worth really writing home about. It seemed to be like it was going to be more red meat just released right off the bat. But go ahead and jump right into it, and I'll make sure I move the Matt Taibbi.
I mean, we're not going to be able to read all of this stuff here. So I just want to start off by saying, just because the establishment is going after Matt Taibbi in a very dishonest way and saying, oh, he's protecting Elon Musk and all this stuff, which is invalid criticism, doesn't mean that this thing is what so many people, unfortunately, I've seen on independent media and all over make it out to be. I do believe this is really mostly a nothing burger, but not for the same reasons the establishment believes it's a nothing burger. They're trying to cover up the truth, like what they do. I believe it really confirms all the things we've been talking about for years, not just about the Hunter Biden laptop story, but in general about how the Democratic establishment colludes with these social media giants, with big tech. And that's been obviously proven, not just through WikiLeaks, but through just if you watch the hearings and you see how they collude, the reality of really seeing accounts get taken down, things being censored, us being censored, a lot of us being censored for talking about these things like the elections, like January 6th, COVID, all of this stuff. Like, so it's not a bad thing that these documents came out. It's not a bad thing. I don't think it necessarily hurts in general. But I do think the reason why Elon Musk cooperated to have this out at this time is because it really elevates his profile. It makes him seem like a transparent, different type of boss than the last boss. And it makes him look like he is going to somehow fight for free speech on one end, but he's simultaneously literally taking down accounts left and right. And he won't acknowledge the shadow banning on state affiliated media. He won't, I mean, multiple people have asked him, he won't do any of that stuff. So while I do think like this isn't necessarily bad that it's been revealed. I don't think that it's anything that is bombshell breaking because it was okayed by Elon Musk. And you say, well, but at least he's doing this. Well, yeah, but why? What you have to ask yourself, what aren't we talking about while all of this is happening? What aren't we paying attention to while all of this is happening? And what does this do for Elon Musk? How does this make him look in a certain way without him actually to be that? Elon Musk has strong connections to big tech, strong connections to the Defense Department. Elon Musk is not just this, well do good billionaire guy that's just, flowing along, and he works really hard and he made some money and that's it. I mean, the guy has really, really, really problematic connections with the orchestrators of the Great Reset, with with just the intelligence apparatus. He's not some guy that's just gonna give this information with no reason, and he's not stupid.
Yep.
He's not stupid. He's actually a really smart guy in terms of just positioning himself in a certain way. Oh, let me be like the guy that's good. What have people on the left just been doing? And I've seen it more so on the Western left than anybody else on the on the outskirts, whether they're independent, whatever, who don't live in the United States or Canada, because I see the United States and Canada extremely being partial to Musk and giving him all this credit for pretty much confirming what we already knew. And Elon Musk isn't going to give this information away that could damage the people who fund him, guys. And
Yep.
it's not me being cynical. It's not me being like, oh, well, you just don't like him, so you're just looking for. No, like, it's actually me being realistic and saying, wait a minute, like, I'm not going to pretend this billionaire that has ties to the State Department, ties to Neuralink, ties to the Great Reset, ties to the World Economic Forum. It's somehow just going to do this one thing and give this information to this one journalist. We don't know the source material. We haven't seen it. And it's just going to be fully transparent, and it's just going to make him look good. And we're all supposed to be like, oh my God, Elon, thank you so much for everything you've done. Even though he keeps censoring a bunch of people and a bunch of accounts, like Arlen Nixon, like somebody just mentioned. And like, it's just, I think it's very naive, and you're tricking yourself into thinking somebody's going to save you by thinking that this is anything that's actually going to change things, because we know that the Democratic establishment and the Republican establishment have colluded with these big tech giants. And every time something happens, they say, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to change that, we're going to do something. Nothing fucking happens. Nothing ever changes, because their power depends on it, depends on these connections, depends on these collusions. So anybody that is naive enough to think that he's going to somehow change the way free press happens, the way information goes, fine. Well, I'll see you on the other side of this when that doesn't happen. And I'm not being like negative here. I'm just telling you, based on what's happened before and based on who he is, this isn't just some magic like pill that's going to wipe everything away.
And, Ari Emanuel, thank you, Kanye West, Ye, for pointing that out and stuff. I think a lot of already people knew that, but I'm glad you highlighted that picture of Ari Emanuel spraying water on Elon Musk's head as they're like playing on a yacht of sorts. He's a super agent with a lot of connections too as well. And, why is Elon Musk playing on a ship with these elites? You know what I'm saying? Or I don't wish with the Predator class, we shouldn't call them elites anymore. So there are a lot of questionable connections over there. And really, to tell you the truth, a lot of this stuff is not verified. There were screenshots. It's just red meat. He's not showing us. He's not opening up the hood and showing us the whole engine and showing us how the algorithm works and showing what they're doing to suppress people or to lift other people up. See, there's another form of suppression. If they're lifting other people up but just leaving you be, that's a form of suppression. It's just like somebody taking away your vote by artificially adding a vote. You know what I'm saying? So, Elon, we've been saying this for quite some times, a lot of questionable connections. Should we go to the tweet itself, fam, and go through the thread?
Yeah. Did you want to? Yeah, just quickly, we can highlight some stuff.
So you tell me.
I mean, you can just keep scrolling. everything. I mean, he's just explaining here. I think you guys have all pretty much seen it. Blah blah blah. Basically, right here. So he talks about how they would basically work with a Biden team to remove tweets, to delete tweets, etc. That sort of thing we knew. Like, we knew this. It's just confirmation of what we knew was true. Like what we experienced, what we saw. Oh, thank you. We're not being gaslit anymore. It's confirmed by Elon. So okay, great. Like, and it's not just, and this is of course regarding the election, right? And regarding Biden versus Trump in the election. But guys, notice how they're not admitting, and they very well could. They're not talking about the election manipulation that's going on even now, that went on during the midterms, because Twitter, even with Elon on there, released ways to make sure that the election information that was coming out of journalists was actually coming from real sources that you could trust. Right, Pasta? Do you remember that when they talked about the midterms? They said, oh, we have to make sure that the information that's being put out there is actually reliable information, not disinformation. Elon even tweeted that. He talked about that. So while they're saying, oh, yes, the Democratic Party and Joe Biden were deleting tweets, they're not talking about, hey, the Democratic Party and Joe Biden are literally engaged in deep manipulation of elections. And let's talk about the weaponization of deleting videos of election malfeasance, deleting accounts that showed election malfeasance, deleting covering up this stuff. Like, they're not talking about all this stuff. They literally still frame it as conspiracy. So I would be a lot more keen to believe that Elon Musk and this Twitter file revelation is legitimate. Like, I'm not saying it's fake. I'm saying it's just the surface. It's very much not just red meat, as Pasta says, but it's just very much like scraps.
Yeah.
Just red scraps.
Well,
like,
here
it's
it
not
is.
even full
Yeah.
meat.
This right here is one, and Fam talked about it. So this is what's going on. We have more information. It says, unreal. Katie Hobbs' office contacts Twitter to have post removed. So the Democrat candidate who ran the Arizona election censored her political opponents, disrupted election day votes, and then threatened counties to with prosecution if they didn't declare the winner. So we have it right here where she contacted this one outlet that went directly to Twitter and had posts removed of her opponents. And they just pretty much admitted to it, fam. So once again, it seems like they're just playing team sports right now, showing a lot of this stuff that seems like it's just a lot of red meat. And when I say red meat, I mean like the fact that
It's a distraction too, though.
Yes.
Because red meat, it's like you're giving some people what they want, but at the same time, you're distracting them from other problems.
Stuff. And like I said, they're not showing the algorithm. They're not showing everything. So yeah, they're kind of, and when I mean red meat, I mean like the color red. Like they're getting the conservatives pissed off and just showing one point of view. They're not showing a bunch of progressives how the Democrats cheated them. They're showing Republicans how they got cheated. And it seems to be, once again, when I say red meat, I mean like conservative meat. So
yeah, no, you're right, because it's exactly that. I mean, the Republicans now can say, oh, look, the Democrats, they're colluding and they're doing this against us. And so blah, blah, blah. And a lot of Republicans really do like Elon because he has been more pro, Republican and stuff like that. So essentially it's reinforcing as of late, it's reinforcing the two spectrums of the left-right dynamics and literally the nuanced points of views, which apparently people forgot about just because they were so excited about this. And I'll forgive you if you were excited and you thought, well, maybe this is kind of cool, blah, blah, blah. But really sit down and think about it here. And like clear your head, sit down and have a nuanced conversation about this, because this isn't a dig at Matt Taibbi. Like, this isn't a dig at anybody that's like, saying, oh, this is actually a good thing. But the thing is, like, why now? Why Elon Musk is doing this, and why specifically not in a way like WikiLeaks where you get the source material directly? Why in this way? What deals were made behind the scenes?
Yeah.
what had to be like said and done. Elon Musk is not just a billionaire. He's one of the most powerful people on the planet with ties to the State Department. I am so sorry. I don't trust that. And I don't trust information coming from people like that isn't leaked in anonymity. Because if there was anything that could come back to him, and then we're going to go off to, he did mention, oh, if I get suicided, I didn't do it. Like, nobody's going to suicide Elon Musk, guys. It's just, he's not a threat to the establishment. He is a part of it. And that's what people need to understand.
And in a minute, fam, the way Jim Carrey says it, both parties had access to these tools. And, I mentioned the Katie Hobbs thing. We also had a case with Dr. Shiva, in which Dr. Shiva had accused his opponent for calling Twitter directly and having Dr. Shiva's whole network turned down, his whole Twitter shut down. And that's just crazy. And I can't believe they're just openly doing this and getting away with this. For instance, in 2020, requests from both Trump, White House, and Biden campaign were received and honored. However, the system wasn't balanced. It was based on contacts because Twitter was and is overwhelmingly staffed by people of one political orientation. There were more channels, more ways to complain, open to the left, well, Democrats, than the right.
Yeah, and that is true.
And he's going to point that out. It is true, but the fact that he went out of his way to point that out, fam,
yeah,
that's the red meat,
right,
for the red base,
right. So you have a bunch of Republicans.
Rude, fam. But what about us? What about dissenting voices from the left? That's why I'm saying we need
nonpartisan.
Or nonpartisan.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, there's just no nuance. That's what I'm saying. This plays into the culture war. Once again, the Democrats versus the Republicans, the woke versus the anti-woke, the left versus the right. There's no because America loves that. America loves that. That's why you have people like Trump, Biden, Elon Musk, because America loves that. It's so easy to manipulate the American public with this sort of rhetoric. And I'm not saying Matt Taibbi doesn't know or he knows. I don't know. This isn't about him. This is about the fact that I just don't think this is a genuine revelation that is actually going to change the system of how free speech works in the country. It's not going to because if it depends on Elon Musk, a billionaire with ties to Neuralink and the State Department, the military industrial complex, you literally have no chance of having free speech. I'm so sorry, but you can call me a cynic all you want. You can say that I'm this and that. That's just the reality. We don't have fair elections. If it were revealed that, for example, like Pasta talks about, there's black box voting, that there was some sort of hacking, some sort of thing. If that was the bombshell that was revealed and there was solid proof that the Democrats actually manipulated our elections, you would have a completely different reaction from me. I'd be like, okay, wait a minute. Whoa, this is actual shit. This is actual reality. It's just basically talking about posts and tweets that were deleted. It's not, yes, and the Democrats, yes, we know they do this. They literally tell you in their hearings that they do this. If you don't watch the hearings, this may be news to you. But it's not news to people who watch them or people who have been following elections and this whole thing. It's just, it's being released. By the way, this was also released right after. Remember, they admitted to, the mainstream media admitted a couple things. The mainstream media admitted that the Biden laptop scandal was actually true. Then they also, mainstream media outlets said, hey, we are advocating the release of Julian Assange. Mm-hmm. We think he should be released. And then this was released. Do you not see that maybe perhaps there's a reason why all of these things are being released right now? And what mechanisms and narratives there might be to push these certain things out and to sort of kind of say, well, mainstream media is now on board, so they're changing their tune. The most dangerous thing for us, people that are anti-imperialist, people that are anti-establishment, isn't the current establishment even. It is the co-option of our current fight against it. That is, to me, the more dangerous thing. It's not just, opposing the clear enemy. It's being co-opted by that enemy, by figures that pretend to be on your side. And that's where I think Elon Musk comes in as somebody that is pretending to be different than the old boss, when he is actually very much the same through his censorship.
And I wanted to show this right here because listen, isn't it odd that they're going after that? The thing that's being most talked about is the censorship of Hunter Biden's laptop.
Mm-hmm.
people are kind of questioning whether Joe Biden's going to run again. People are questioning whether they're going. They feel like some people feel like, at the sense that they're starting to throw him under the bus. That's what this feels like right here. We're going to release this stuff now, and eventually we're going to remove Joe Biden. We're going to put Kamala Harris in there, and they can. That's the thing. 2 years in a day, right? That's when she can come in, serve the 2 years, serve out his term, and then serve 2 terms of her own and have 10 years with elections.
Lord help us all.
10 years of a Kamala Harris could be technically true, but a lot of people feel like that's the timing of this whole situation. Fam, do you want to look at anything else in those things? I was going to go to the next one because Elon Musk then put up.
Yeah, let's just go to the next one.
All right, so let me put this one up over here, guys. You guys know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the share button. We hope that you're enjoying everything today. We are on Rumble as well as Rockfin and YouTube today until they do what they normally do, and that's censor the schnot out of us, right, fam?
And by the way, one more thing I got to point out. Elon Musk was losing popularity because of his censorship and his banning of accounts. And people were like, wow, I thought you were going to be different and blah, blah, blah. He started losing a lot of supporters. This just brings him right back up, and people have literally just lost it when it comes to this. Like, this whole situation, they're giving him credit. I've seen so many people say, thank you, Elon Musk, for this, blah, blah, blah. You're never going to catch me thanking Elon Musk, because if he actually did something legitimate, maybe like legitimate, where he was actually being really transparent, where he literally separated himself away from his links to the State Department and to these covert agencies, then maybe I would say, you know what, like, he's actually shown he's doing that. But I'm not going to thank him for a tweet. I'm not going to thank him for doing something very much predictable of somebody that's trying to gain your trust. As Lucky Burrito said, he's trying to gain people's trust. And that is a very, I think, nefarious underlying sort of thing. So he said, tune in for episode 2 of the Twitter Files tomorrow. He's promoting this. Do you really think that, and because would you say he's part of the establishment, Pasta? Because to me, he is. He made
all his money on governmental contracts and subsidies for weapons and propulsion and rockets, and he's been pushing Neuralink bullshit the whole time. He says we'll coup who we want to coup. You saw him with freaking Ari Emanuel over there. I don't trust him one way or the other. I don't think he's a rogue character. And look at the people people like Eric Bolling, right? Oh, great stuff so far. Completely partisan. Republicans can't do anything wrong. I hate Democrats. Eric Bolling, Elon Musk, they are powerful, evil people who don't want to see the light of day. Keep a watchful eye on your 6. Can't wait for tomorrow's.
Once again, that narrative that he's like in danger because they're gonna get him because he's a threat to the establishment is laughable. It's laughable, guys. He's part of it, just like Pasta said. He made all his money from the defense industry. So yes, I do think he's part of the establishment. He is positioning himself as being somebody that's anti-establishment. And just here's more proof right here. Elon Musk says that if I commit suicide, it's not real. Like, he's pushing this narrative. He's promoting the Twitter Files. A person that has ties to the State Department and the military industrial complex and the dirty things that they've done would not be promoting something if it actually threatened the people he's made his money from, guys. It just wouldn't happen. It's the logical, it's not an emotional decision here or thought process that I'm doing. It's a logical thought process. Why would somebody that has made all their money from the State Department, the military industrial complex, the defense industry, really put out anything beyond superficial connections to some other, people, Democrats, whatever he can point out, without having something to gain from it? And he wouldn't put those bridges in danger. That he wouldn't bite the hand that feeds. He's just going to do what he can to position it as if he is some sort of opponent to the establishment while actually making his money off of it. And that is, to me, far more nefarious than somebody that is just more transparent about where they stand. And like, I just don't understand. I think people got emotional with this whole thing, and they're not really looking at the logic of this doesn't make sense. And it's also because neoliberals are criticizing Taibbi and are criticizing this, but from the standpoint of, oh, he's just pro Republican and blah blah blah. They're just they're using really stupid criticisms. But my criticism comes from, actually, it's his ties to the State Department and the military industrial complex that really make it like not trustworthy.
Yeah.
And
I'll
T-Lab.
never forget. We'll coup who we want to coup. Go ahead, fam.
Yeah.
I'll never
No,
forget that.
so I do want to have Ryan on to talk about this, because I think him, Lionel, that was on RT the other day, and maybe like us and Steve are the only ones that I've seen like really have this perspective and understand. Whitney, understand, like, because she knows all about his connections. She's talked and wrote ad nauseum about them.
Rory's
But
been good
everybody
about
else
this,
is
too.
just like, oh my God, Elon, like, this is great, Fiorella, you're being, oh my God, you should, this is a big deal, blah blah blah. And like, I'm sorry, it's not. So he said, why are so few pointing out that these supposed Twitter files are just tweets with screenshots? I'm not saying it's all false, merely that no one knows but Matt and Elon. No one honest should be taking this at face value until we see source material. Hashtag real transparency, hashtag Twitter files.
Which is something
And I
we've been
agree with him.
talking about for so long. We want real transparency.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, fam. I didn't mean to interrupt. My bad.
No, that's it. I mean, I just wanted to read his tweet, and I think he's so right. I mean, I think that is a suspect. And I said it before on Twitter. I said, if it was coming from WikiLeaks, where it was direct source material, and by the way, WikiLeaks files began disappearing too, not that long ago.
Yeah.
Like millions of files reportedly gone. And we talked about that a few weeks ago. And all of a sudden, like, it's just so weird to me. It's just so weird to me. So this person put up this poll that said, should Elon Musk release the Twitter files WikiLeaks style, or should he outsource editorial decisions on January 6th Twitter communications to IDW midwit like Barry Weiss? So they're just like saying, but a lot of people are beginning to say, wait a minute, why don't we see the actual files? Like, this is just a Twitter thread or an article. Why don't we just see like the files themselves? Why aren't they all being released? You're not seeing the meat and bone, like the real foundations of this whole thing. You're just seeing what they want you to see, what is allowed, what you're allowed to see. And that is something you should question as to why that is. Just constantly, like, just always.
What did you think about, do we have it in here, the Elon, the Julian Assange thing? All right, so we'll get to it. I don't want
Should be in there.
jump the gun. I'm sorry, fam. Go ahead. This is from the New York Post, you were saying?
Yeah, so this is just something that I think I want to point this out so people don't think I am agreeing with the establishment. So a lot of these establishment leftists, which they're not really leftists, but whatever, they're the establishment shitlibs, right, are attacking Matt Taibbi for exposing this, which I don't think you should attack Matt Taibbi, because I don't think that's the problem here. And they're attacking him for unserious reasons, right? They're really insulting the guy. They're insulting the messenger rather than like really understanding what's going on here. So if you just scroll down a little bit, want to read the first part. So mainstream news reporters in lockstep with Democratic strategists rushed to social media to smear journalist Matt Taibbi as a sad fraud as he released his bombshell report on political censorship at Twitter. Matt Taibbi, what a sad, disgraceful downfall. Daily Beast columnist, of course, the Daily Beast, and New York Times contributor Wajahat Ali posted, selling your soul for the richest white nationalist on earth. Do you see these criticisms? Like, not about the substance, just about the people. Like, it's just not the substance. I'm not criticizing Elon as a white nationalist. I'm criticizing Elon's ties to the State Department, the defense industry. There's a difference.
Yeah. There's
a difference between that. Do you see that? Like, I want people to understand that just because I'm saying this is a nothing burger doesn't mean I agree with the ways the establishment is attacking Taibbi and is even criticizing Elon with bullshit points like white nationalists. Like, what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about here? On Friday, billionaire Elon Musk, who vowed to give the social media giant a free speech overhaul when he bought it last month, released to Taibbi a shocking collection of inside correspondence proving that Democrat insiders leaned on Twitter censors to suppress the Post's coverage of the Hunter Biden laptop ahead of the 2020 presidential election. While Ali was hitting send, Dem pollster Matt McDermott tweeted a nearly identical putdown. Matt Taibbi always was and still remains a fraud. Doing PR for the richest person in the world should come as no surprise. Okay, here's the thing. In a way, it is PR for Elon. Why would Elon release it to him and only to him? Why would, all of these things? But did he do that on purpose? I'm not saying that. I don't necessarily think that at all. I think if somebody like Elon Musk releases these documents and you can verify them, of course, release them. That's not, the criticisms against Taibbi and Elon Musk here are disingenuous coming from the establishment. They just don't want this stuff out because it makes them look bad. It confirms basically what we all know about the establishment, that they're a bunch of frauds, manipulative bastards who go around and try to censor any sort of narrative that goes outside their accepted narrative. And it's as simple as that. Now, the criticisms I have are of the reason this was released and Elon Musk's ties to very problematic institutions of power much more than anything Taibbi has done or said. Like, this is more about this is really weird to me that Elon Musk would just allow this stuff to go out when he has just so many ties to a lot of the power players at hand here, and how this isn't like straight source material. You're releasing certain screenshots and stuff. So it's kind of like we're getting secondhand information from Elon Musk via Matt Taibbi. We're not getting the direct source material. And I think that it really decreases credibility and how big of the story is. And of course, it is PR, but I don't think Taibbi was doing that on purpose. I don't think he's trying to do PR for Elon Musk. I just think that this is inadvertently really good for Elon Musk. And I think that's also why he did it.
Bam.
This is Elon Musk quote. Why should people believe Twitter in the future if Twitter does not come clean about the past? Elon Musk on the Twitter files. So again, he's trying to cement belief in his new Twitter world. He is now the head of Twitter. He is now the guy that's in charge of Twitter. So he wants to reaffirm belief in Twitter, especially because Twitter has been going through a lot of back and forth with the Twitter Blue and all this stuff. And I was enjoying, I have zero problem with him doing what he's doing with the Twitter Blue shit, because I think it's hilarious watching all these idiots, establishment people literally crap their pants because they're so mad that they're going to have to pay $8 eventually to have a blue check. I just think it's hilarious. But do I think that the algorithm is going to benefit those that speak outside narratives? No, because I'm seeing it right now. Accounts get censored all the time, get taken down. I'm part of a shadow ban. He hasn't addressed the shadow ban on a lot of us. So no, I don't think it's going to change anything at all whatsoever. People are going to say this is a bombshell thing. Oh my God, this is crazy. This is so important. Guess what? Nothing's going to happen because it's not meant to happen. It's just meant for people to get that red meat, as Pasta said, and be like, ooh, Democrats suck. Like, Republicans, yay. And
this is helping put people in corners, and a lot of people aren't looking at the main important things too as well, which is what Whitney's pointing out right here. If you're a journalist completely committed to opposing digital CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, and that's eliminating money, the more physical money you eliminate, the more electronic money you implement, the more freedoms you take away. Musk plans to turn Twitter into an everything app. It should be the deal. It should be a deal breaker, and that and the brain chip certainly are for me. So what Whitney's talking about is that Elon Musk has constantly pointed out this love for the We app, everything app in China where you got everything there, central bank digital currencies hooked to the app. You can buy things, do things. You can communicate on social media. It's one app to control them all, fam. And it's a very scary thing because that's what he's talked about for a long time. So a lot of people think that that's where he's eventually sheep herding people into. And that is a very concerning thing, fam.
No, I agree. I mean, and I think obviously she's written a lot about this. So I would go ahead and look at her work on this stuff because his ties are extremely problematic to the defense industry. And so she quote tweeted him when he said, "We are now confident that the Neuralink device is ready for humans." So timing is a function of working through the FDA approval process. So then she quote tweeted and said 15 or 8, depending on who you believe, of the 23 monkeys died in animal trials for Neuralink. Moving to human trials with that track record is a dangerous gamble. So this is a guy talking about Neuralink device. And look, some people have pointed out, well, Neuralink, it will help the disabled. It could help some certain people, but it's not even the technology that I have a problem with as much as like, because I do have a problem with the technology, but I think like the technology is going to advance whether we like it or not. It's about who's in charge of the technology. And with the people that we have in power right now and the things they're trying to use this for isn't to benefit disabled people. It's literally to manipulate people, to control people. It's not, they're not doing this because they're good and they just want to better the world and have kumbaya and let's all live in peace and hold hands. That's not why they're doing
plugged
this.
into the matrix.
Essentially, yeah.
Yes. I mean,
that's essentially what it is.
Useless eaters. They don't want you there. They don't want you thinking. They want every thought. They want the thought police there as well. So that's why, you know what I'm saying? They don't want you to. And they're going to plug everybody in eventually. So, yeah, it is what it is. This is just a thought.
Yes, and I love her. She always has just a great thought. What a fucking joke. No one is going to suicide Elon Musk because he's a useful tool to the establishment, not a threat. And that's exactly it, guys. I mean, oh, Elon Musk, and just also thanking him. And I just have this really visceral reaction to people just so easily being manipulated by certain like narratives without actually questioning like why this is happening. And like, look, like, is it a bad thing, for example, that he's been talking about Julian? I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it really opens up the conversation. Do I think it's genuine? No. That's the thing. Like, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it gets his name out there. Elon has a lot of followers. He's got a lot of power, but I'm also not naive enough to think that
he fucking balked on it. He balked. You know what a balk is?
Of course he did.
All right.
So again, I just want to remind people of this thread, if you haven't seen it, from last month in November. Since Elon Musk is the center of attention right now, it's important to know he is not, as he portrays himself, some radical outsider, but a crucial part of the U.S. surveillance and national security states. It's Mint Press article, and we can click on it. But real quick, I just want to go through some of the tweets he has here on the thread. Musk was a protege, the CIA, and in particular, the CIA exec Mike Griffin. Griffin mentored him, and when SpaceX was going broke, he argued for him at the CIA plus NASA, saying he was the new Henry Ford of the rocket industry, securing huge contracts for Musk. So there he is. And what I said,
penny loafers, the guys wearing penny.
When I said he has ties to these people, I wasn't lying. Griffin was president of the CIA venture capitalist arm In-Q-Tel. In-Q-Tel supports fraudulent businesses that the agency thinks could work with them. Griffin also accompanied Musk to Russia in 2002, where the pair tried to buy Russian intercontinental ballistic missiles. SpaceX's business model is to send spy communication satellites into space. Its primary customers are the CIA, the NSA, NRO, and USAF. Thus, Musk is a vital cog in the national security state machine, helping them build the global surveillance network Edward Snowden warned us about. But somehow Elon Musk doesn't know about Julian Assange or Edward Snowden very much at all. He has to get himself educated on it, right?
It's a lie. That's a lie. That's a fucking lie. Dude, if you don't know about freaking... That's a lie. You know who? Jamal Bauman said the same thing. Said, I don't know enough about the situation. That's a lie.
They all say that.
You don't know about the biggest press fucking trial in history, like the biggest situation. Like, it's not just Elon. It's not just Julian Assange. It's what Julian Assange provided, the mechanism of saying, this is what your government is doing behind your back. This is the blood they are spilling in your name. The mechanism of letting whistleblowers drop archives of information that was hidden from you, the taxpayer dollars, blood spilled in your name. That's what Julian Assange provided. And if you don't know about Assange, then you don't know about fucking anything. You're lying.
And by the way,
You're lying.
Pasta's 100% right on this. And I just want to say that doesn't mean that a regular Joe Schmo that's working 40 hours a week, that doesn't pay attention to politics or watch any of this stuff, isn't going to know about. There's a lot of people that don't know about Julian Assange. There's like regular people out there. Elon Musk in these circles, he knows. Come on. He's not a regular guy that's just completely in his own world working, doing like, this is Elon Musk. This guy has ties to the State Department. You're going to tell me he doesn't know about Julian Assange? Are you freaking kidding me? It's bullshit. And if you buy it, you're lying to yourself, because look, earlier this year, Musk worked with the US government to send Starlink satellites to Ukraine. Guys, keeping its army online and allowing them to use new tech to precisely target Russian forces. Some Ukrainian forces couldn't even fire their weapons without using Starlink. So, I mean, yeah, well, this is the what
There it
really
is.
grinds our gears, right? There it is,
This
Pasta.
is
There's
yeah.
also the controversy over Musk's reported role in the U.S.-backed 2019 coup against Bolivia's Evo Morales. Musk appeared to brag on Twitter that he helped remove Morales from power, something Morales has also said. So this is what this was a tweet, if you guys recall. You know what wasn't in the best interest of the people? The U.S. government organizing a coup against Evo Morales in Bolivia so you could obtain the lithium there. We'll coup whoever we want, deal with it. So that was the infamous tweet. And then Evo Morales talked about lithium. And I did a whole package on this, by the way. The Evo Morales has said that the reason why they were couped is because of the lithium. And lithium, of course, in the lithium triangle, Bolivia has some of the most strong amounts of lithium. And this is a reality here. And people want to pretend this guy is some sort of savior, that he's just going to release these documents for the benefit of people. No, unless there's something he can get out of it too. And that's what you have to go really look at. Like, what are you looking at right now?
And by the way, the last thing, it was this one here.
So yes, an awful lot more eye-opening information contained inside the report. So if you guys go and read that article, I thought it was a good article from Met Press. And, I just think people really need to look at this logically rather than emotionally. Oh my God, we're vindicated because, yes, we know we're vindicated. They were already told us the Hunter Biden laptop story was true, and it was censored because it was. And then this came out to double confirm it. So really, what did it tell us other than what we already knew? Like not much else. And this was my answer because Dan Cohen had thanked Elon, and had actually said Elon Musk. If you scroll up, he had reiterated what Elon Musk had said during these Twitter spaces that he had with Kim.com. And Kim.com had asked Elon Musk about the persecution of Julian Assange, and Musk responded, "I just don't know enough about the Assange situation to say whether he should be punished or not." That is a political answer. It is a bullshit answer.
A lie.
It is an answer that you put out when you know the truth. You just don't want to say it. And it's just complete bullshit. It's complete bullshit. I said, he knows exactly about Assange. This is the answer you give when you pretend otherwise to avoid saying you're not allowed to actually care. He's not allowed to talk about Julian Assange. How many times has Misty Winston tagged him to talk about Julian Assange because he claims to be this free speech warrior? So a lot, not just her, but so many activists for Assange have been tagging him. You're going to tell me he never saw any of this? So then he went on and did, okay, I'm not expressing an opinion, but did promise to conduct this poll. Should Assange and Snowden be pardoned? 80.5% of people said yes. Only 19.5% of idiots said no. And there you have it. I mean, it's just, but at the same time, what does this do? Okay, it raises awareness about Assange to maybe people who didn't know, that aren't Elon Musk, regular people who may not know who Assange is or what is going, because there's a lot of people that still don't know. So, okay, that's not a bad thing that he's raising awareness, but really it's like he's not taking responsibility or accountability for the fact that Julian Assange shouldn't be pardoned. He should have never been charged at all. He should, this is ridiculous. This is like an attack on press freedoms. You should pardon Edward Snowden, completely release Julian Assange. He shouldn't be in jail at all. He literally had the crime of being a journalist and a publisher. That's that. He wasn't even a whistleblower. And he gave us direct source materials through WikiLeaks, not screenshots on Twitter, but direct source materials. I'm not belittling that screenshots on Twitter can't be information, because they can, but Elon-approved screenshots on Twitter. Let me just preface it by that. Elon-approved. What the guy that has all these ties that we just read about to the State Department, to the CIA, to NASA, to the NSA, approved screenshots as released as this big giant thing. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
Come on.
By the way, I figured it was a good way to end the show, fam, with what Stella said after this information just came out. And it's very, very powerful. And when she starts to lose it, it gets me so angry, because, I mean, what is he doing? What is Julian Assange's crime? I believe it was Sarah Abdullah, who does some great reporting on what goes on in Syria, too, as well. And anytime there's bombing, she seems to be ahead of it. And she just calls out Israel as well. And it's like we said, we're going to have Vanessa Billy on Wednesday to talk about what's going on in Syria right now, because it's disgusting. But she put up a post that showed George W. Bush dropped over 100,000 bombs. Trump, 70,000 bombs. Obama, 100,000 bombs. Whatever. All these bombs, right? They're all free. Julian Assange is in jail for revealing war crimes, for revealing stuff that we have every right to know. We have every right to know, and we should know, any blood spilled in our names. You hear what I'm saying, ladies and gentlemen? And at the end of the day, I mean, I understand that we don't have a lot of power and a lot of choices, but they're using our tax dollars. They're using our voice to justify it. So here's a little quick clip of Stella speaking some truth.
You look in your hair. You open your mouth. They look under your tongue. They pat you down front and back. Under your feet. They put their hands under your feet, your bare feet. And then you go through another airlock. And then another airlock. And then there's a dog search. And the dog searches you. It jumps up on you, it smells you, goes back. You have to stay still. The children have to stay still. And it's quite intimidating, a dog search. And they have to do this just to see their father once a week. Think about that. And why? What has Julian done? He published the truth about war crimes against a powerful government that is exerting its power to punish him. This cruelty is against Julian. It's also against us as a family, against my children, but also against all of you. And staying quiet is just being complicit in this atrocity. And I commend every MEP who supported this nomination, because that's what it takes. You have to raise the political profile of this case until it is absolutely impossible for the UK to extradite and for the US to prosecute. You all know what a political case is. You all know what it takes. This is a pure political persecution happening in the heart of Europe.
When she got emotional, it got me emotional. It's what did he do? He told us the truth. And if the truth blows it up, then the truth blows it up. I hate the people who say, well, he released truth that helped Trump. I'm done with that bullshit. I'm done with that. The truth is the truth, no matter what. We deserve to know the truth. We deserve to understand and know what type of blood is being spilt in our names. We deserve to know how our tax dollars are being spent. We deserve to know, and we should know. And that's what Julian Assange provided for us. End of story.
And at the end of the day, I don't think anything new is going to come out of this other than people, unfortunately, putting their trust and reliance on a guy that was funded by the defense industry that continues to do a lot of work for the State Department, the intelligence apparatus. And I think you always have to look at why certain things get leaked, by whom, at a certain time, to whom. And we live in a world right now where you can't just look at the current narrative and say, oh, this is it. Like, again, like, it's not just the counter narrative to the current narrative, it's the counter narrative to the accepted counter narrative that you have to look like, right? And you have to really understand where all of this is coming from, like why exactly all of this is happening, and what benefit does Elon get? What benefit do the people who fund Elon get by people putting their trust in this guy who has shown time and time again he really isn't as transparent or as much of an outsider as people want him to be? And you have to go back to the American public so readily, easily being able to accept that somebody is going to be a hero figure for them and is going to save the free speech from the evil Democrats or whatever villain it is for that day. I just find that to be really what you have to be looking at. And I'm not convinced that this is some sort of big reveal. It basically tells us what we already knew. And I do think in some ways, I like that some activists are using Elon's revelations or Elon saying, oh, well, I'm not educated on the subject. Well, get educated, Elon. Here you go. It's fine, like, to do that. I think it's good to kind of throw it back at him and say, oh, you're not educated? Well, it's time you might get educated now, right? Like, you can't lie about it anymore. So now, like, he has to see, he can try to, like, weasel his way out of it again, but it's just not going to stick because he's saying, okay, well, I wasn't educated, but now hopefully he gets educated on it, right? Like, we know the truth, but it's good that is one good thing I see about this. And I am happy that more people are talking about Julian Assange, but I don't think it's just happening because they just had a come to Jesus moment. There's a lot of things that are happening with it.
Yeah, and it's a distraction. It's a circus. Like I said, it's the red meat. It's going to get the Republicans all fired up, and they're going to think they're the only ones. People like us have gotten punished before. And just to show you some of the craziness of the circus that is, right now you got the Republicans coming in. Fam, they're going to have an investigation on the investigation. Why the GOP will investigate the January 6th committee's investigation. We're going to investigate your investigation. And now you're going to bring up Hunter Biden shit at the end of 2 years into fucking almost 2 years into Biden's fucking presidency. Now you're going to bring it up. Guys, you cannot be that. We're going to have an investigation on your investigation, fam. Literally.
It's WWE. It's entertainment television, reality TV, whatever you want to call it. It's entertainment for the American public. Nothing's going to come out of these investigations. I'm sorry. It's them investigating themselves back and forth and doing this theatrical production of the Democrats versus Republicans. And that's that. And at the end of the day, what Pasta said was important. 2 years after the event, all this stuff is happening way too late. Like, yes, we already knew this. Yes, it wasn't confirmed. And now we have more evidence that what we were saying was true. But what is good does it do now? Like, it's done. It's over with. For 2 years, people were getting called conspiracy theorists. They were getting censored. Okay, we're vindicated. Now what? Now is Elon Musk going to really have a free speech platform when the people who fund him literally are part of the problem and part of the machine? No. It's just not, that's not how things work, guys. It is completely an illusion for you to think that that's how things work. And it's just not. So I think people need to really be realistic. We don't advocate the no solutions doomer look on the show, but we advocate realistically, like, these connections can't be ignored. You can't put his connections aside and pretend they don't exist and say, well, this is just a one time. That's like putting the United States empire's attempts to, coup, overthrow regimes everywhere, and then think that they're going to come home and not do the same thing to their own elections. It's not logic.
Somebody this is from a Possum King on Rumble put, Putin should trade Griner for Assange. It's the only way he gets out. Brittany Griner for Assange. Why don't they float that out there? It's like where Putin says, I'll give you Brittany Griner for Assange. And then put it on, fam, you got to feed this to the Kremlin. To put it on, then all the social justice words will be like, how could you not give up Brittany Griner? How could you not give up some stupid white man for Brittany Griner? Like, this is perfect over here. What a great Opossum King. This is a great Putin. Put him on the spot. Say, I'll give you Brittany Griner for Julian Assange. Deal or no deal? And then so many of the social justice warriors will come out. And they'll say that, fam. How can he not trade this dumb one white man for Brittany Griner? I think it's a beautiful idea, and I love it. By the way,
It
we
is a
have
great idea.
Ian on the Rockfin also says, I am still banned. Thank you, Ian, for the Super Red contribution. As always, appreciate on the couch. And A-Ren fam leaves another love. Thank you for the Super Red contribution. It is always appreciated on the couch, fam. And that is it for the Super Rays. We have no Rumble rants today over on Rumble. But guys, if you're hanging out on Rumble today, you can go catch Fee in a couple hours. She will be there. There's 44 people. We need people to go up and join our Rockfin, ROKFIN, the combo couch for $9.99 a month to get all our premium content, which we have none of it. We never put nothing behind a paywall because it's on Rumble for free, but it does help out the combo couch financially. So go over to Rockfin, sign up for $9.99 a month. You can get a whole month, a whole year at a reduced price if you want to. That does help us out. That is our advertisement-free free speech platform. Fam, anything else you got to say before we get on out of here?
No, I'll be on RT in a few hours.
Fam, say it right.
So,
Artizzle.
no. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching.
Quick
We love
thank
you.
Quick thank you to all our Patreons. Thank you so much. That helps a lot. Quick thank you to people who keep going to this fund right here. Give, Send, Go, thecombocouch.brazil. GiveSendGo.com/thecombocouchbrazil. We'll be putting up a new fundraiser soon around Christmas time for our trip to Cuba in March. And fam, yes, we can go from Fort Lauderdale to Cuba for pretty cheap as long as you have a reason to go. So we're going to have guys, a little extra help because we have to get everything in order because they don't let just tourists go. But we want to put together a super delegation, fam. I have some ideas, fam, about some people who want to come. So, guys, that will be the next thing. But if you want to throw a few bucks in the GiveSendGo.com/thecombocouchbrazil, we are here for you. That's it for today, fam. Tomorrow, we will have at 12:30 a special power panel, fam. The Libertarians, they're coming to town. We got Clint
Right-wing fascist Red-Brown Alliance.
We have Clint Russell from Liberty Lockdown coming on the show with comedian Dave Smith. The Libertarians, Mises Caucus hopefuls, people who have a voice in that thing, not necessarily the presidential candidates, fam. That's just all talk. There's still people like Spike Cohen in the Libertarian Party, people like Justin Amash, people like Maj Toure wondering who's going to take the reins in this party. But that's going to be very interesting. We're going to have Jimmy Dore come on for round 2. We're going to talk about a little bit about Medicare, fam. We're going to talk about third parties. We're going to talk about ballot access. We're going to talk about foreign policy, Russia, China, the whole 9 yards. We're going to mix it up tomorrow at 12:30 Pacific on the Combo Couch. Come join us. We're going to have a great time, fam. Anything else?
Nope.
Well, that's it for today, guys. I am Pasta Jardula.
And I'm Fiorella. Come out.
We love you guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye.